Hey there. Happy new moon in Taurus. Happy Sunday. Just here with waiting for my good friend Nadine Searle to join me for another one of our Love Me Chit Chats. We really didn't plan what we were going to talk about today. It just kind of came up, or just kind of going to go with the flow. But just feeling into these energies of this new moon in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. I like to say it's the earth sign of all the earth signs because it is, it's just that slow, stable energy. Oh, here's Nadine. Let me let her in. There we go. Hi, Nadine.
Hello, Trish. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I think we
That's
both
good.
we both had a bit of sunshine today, don't we?
Yeah, I was just saying that.
Hmm.
Just getting into talking about these the energies that we're in the Taurus new moon, and just feeling that slow intentional energy of that. And Taurus is all about the material world, like what do we value. It's the I have or I possess energy. And but I really, like I said in my post about this chit chat, I really feel like intuitively, I've seen some other astrologers talking about this too, that it's this energy around our what do we value versus like the material values, or valuing the material things, stuff, possessions, but it's more about our values. And um, I don't know if you're feeling that, but I just feel like such a strong sense of that. And leaning away from the external values that we're kind of as a society conditioned to lean into, like societal structure, the values like that, we have to act and, have certain things, check all the boxes of society. We've talked about that before. Um, and I feel like it's more of like going inward and seeing like what do we value from the soul level,
Yeah.
what is important to us right now. And where we're at. I don't know. We kind of talked briefly before this, and I've just been feeling this energy of a lot of things clearing or coming up for clearing, lessons being repeated, I guess. Yeah. So
Mm, mm,
kind of all over the place. I feel like that's just, it's funny because it's Taurus energy where it's like very stable. But I feel like also a sense of instability. I think that's the Uranus energy that's coming in too, which I talked about. Uranus is moving into a new sign or has moved into Gemini, and um, that's my natal sun. We're also Mercury is at play here, so communication, all of that. So there's this sense of expecting the unexpected, and I feel like there's a lot happening all at once.
mm.
And yeah, does that resonate?
Do you know, it really does. And where you say about this Taurus energy is so grounding and steady and maybe slow, and it's there for us, that,
Mm-hmm.
connecting with earth, nature, everything like that. We both know, don't we? And I'm sure so many people do know as well. It's there. It's there for us if we take time, if we slow down. Nature is there. Nature supports us. All of that. We've talked about it so many times, and I really know that. And I'm feeling it with the seasons at the moment and everything. But I totally agree with you that there's that kind of, maybe down here is down is the Taurus energy, but above is a little bit of chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel sort of right in the middle of that, and just going, there's chaos going on, and I'm trying to make sense of it, and I'm trying to stay with my slow, calm grounding, but there's some kind of frenzy going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that, when you will say there's some kind of planetary explanation, I always take sense of relief from that. But it is true, and again, that kind of, I'm trying to find my way in that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a new way. It's not my old patterns. It's not old things. I have gone through lots of changes the last few years, emotionally and physically, and I'm experimenting, if you like, with new ways of doing things, and that causes a bit of chaos in my world, because I really don't know how that sits with me. So I'm experimenting. I'm doing things in a different way, and yeah, that just muddles me a little bit, but it's good. It's sort of good, and that it does make me uncomfortable, but I know it's for the good. So I am
Mm-hmm.
where you said about what are your values, what is important.
Yep.
I am spending time really questioning that and trying, as I say, different ways again. Is this a better way for me? You know, it's not the external values. I'm really tuning into me and what's important to me. Um, and I've got to be honest, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm trying different things. So that kind of we talked about like the end of last year was a lot of shedding and everything, wasn't it? You know, and I think I feel I'm still shedding a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, you know, letting go of things and go that old way. No, that wasn't. But it's still not 100% certain. That old way isn't good. Let that go. Let that shed. And then almost like trying on a new skin, a new way, but I'm still like taking it off again, putting it on again. You know, that kind of
Yeah.
yeah. So that's sort of how it's playing out for me. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny too when you talk about like kind of like all this chaotic energy like out here, up above, whatever, around us.
Mm,
And I realized this week, I'm like, I feel like I'm in that, like you just described, like put words to how I've been feeling. And also, like, I feel like this new moon in Taurus is like, Trish, like, get back to the basics. Like, it
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
call this week to like realize that I've kind of like spun out of my old routines and like, as like I'm shedding parts of my old self and then not really knowing what resonates with me anymore. And I feel like I've been like, that for the last few months, if not like this last year, trying to like find a new footing and find like what feels good and what grounds me and all of that. So I like literally on Friday I was like, all right, I'm doing it all. Breath work, Reiki, meditation, journaling, like all like because I just felt so like I needed that like extra grounding and I just feel like there's just, and this sense of, yeah, like reminding myself, like, what is important to me now? Like, what,
Mm,
and I'm having life experiences that are kind of, mirroring to me what I want, what I don't want, and all of that. Also seeing this kind of like split of like, yeah, like this people who are on a path of like awakening and growth and then people who are clinging to the old mindset, and it's kind of like I feel like we've been in this period of a choice point of like which way are you going? Are you going to cling to the old mindsets that are outdated and benefit a handful of people, or are we like moving in this new direction, aware of our connected consciousness and awaken to some a deeper truth and awaken to things that we thought were truth that aren't, and finding the real truth behind them. And I just feel like there's just so much coming at us right now, and it's like more important than ever to kind of like have that space to be still and go inward and lean into, establish what your values are. That's something I realized too, that a lot of people, if you ask them, they might not be able to tell you. And I know I couldn't for a long time. My
mm,
values were society's values for a long time. And
yes. Yeah.
then I think we just agree to those. That's, the four agreements. Like it's that concept of like we
Mm,
come in and we agree to these beliefs and values that because society says they're okay, then we take those on, and then we realize that at some point now I'm not aligned with that anymore.
yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
like what feels good to my soul.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
How does that land?
it's so true, isn't it? But again, we still have those we still get caught up in the old ways and feeling maybe guilty about standing true to ourselves and that kind of thing. But it is something I know we're both we are, we've moved on such a lot that actually, yeah. And when I said about shedding, I rude as it might sound, I include that with people as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
you said, there are some people that it is a period of awakening massively for the whole world. There's a lot
Yep.
going on. There are people that are waking up to things that are not, choosing to, not choosing to. And I find, and as I say, it might sound a bit rude, that I am increasingly um, not wishing to spend my time with the people that I don't think are awakening. And
Yeah.
maybe, well, and it's not right for me to judge, and I don't want it to sound as if I'm judging, but maybe I am. I'm feeling that I have moved on a long way, and I recognise that. So I feel more, I'm not aligned with the people maybe that I was aligned with,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that that is the right path for me. Again, shedding, and again, it might sound really rude, but shedding people, moving on to I am in the world, the way that it's happening in my little world is I'm meeting new people all the time, um, and being awakened by them as well. So those are
Mm-hmm.
people that I'm drawn to, attractively are drawn to their
Yeah.
energy and that kind of thing. So that means to me, yes, I'm moving, shedding, growing new skin, if you like, that kind of thing. So, and as I say, I don't mean that to sound rude and I'm just dismissing people, but that is the reality of what's happening
I
with
think
me.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it is. I don't think it's rude. And I think like we need to normalize that
Mm.
concept of being allowed to outgrow people and
Yeah.
places and things, or,
Yeah.
just what once like resonated. Like this is like, we're here. We're not here to stay in one spot. Like we are energy, like everything is energy, and we are meant to keep moving, to keep
Mm.
in motion, and to like, we, and I think that's like this concept of awakening is remembering who we are and why we came here. We didn't come here to just, you know, collect a paycheck every week and then,
Mm.
wait till we die. We came here to
Yeah.
grow, to expand our consciousness, to expand our wisdom, like, and how we do that is to listen to the voice that's inside of us, or to lean into that, and that's our internal guidance system that's there for us, and instead of, buying into this thing that we've bought into out, externally in this system, and the material world. And yeah, like I like nice things, I like, it's just as much as the next person. It's not about that though. And
Mm.
at one point that was like filling a void in my life, or void, an emptiness,
Mm.
was, collecting, buying stuff, and,
Mm.
and I think, we all have our I don't even want to say it's a vice, but whatever, to like fill that void. And the
Mm.
void is there because we're not listening, we're not in connection with our soul. And it's not about like being selfish to care just about ourselves. It's understanding that that connection to our soul then connects us deeper with everyone else around us. And I think that's why, we have this sense of like outgrowing people, because then it no longer resonates. Like it's like, I don't want to
Mm.
spend my energy and time with somebody who isn't like, doesn't have the same values as I do. Like,
Yeah.
and we don't have to have the exact same, or approach it in the same way, but just, have this like underlying understanding that we're here to connect. And like, you've helped me in healing, and I feel like healing is that awakening, or is that helps us on that path of awakening, and
Mm.
remembering who we are and why we came here and what our soul's purpose is. And we can't understand that if we're too busy focusing on the external all the time.
Mm.
And yeah, I just feel there's this big shift or split of paths, and it's just
Yeah.
becoming more and more evident, and it's harder to wrap your head around, and to find that new sense of like footing in the new self, like who we are now, like what we have and what we're embodying now from everything we've learned in the
Mm.
last, how many years that we've been on
Yeah.
this path.
Yeah, and I really, I've got to thank you for all of that. Like you say I helped you healing and everything, but you're helping me constantly. And what you just said really helps me, because it's almost like just saying, yeah, it is okay to be
Mm-hmm.
doing what you're doing and feeling. So I'll say that to everybody. It is okay if you are feeling that and you're feeling a bit uncertain and you're growing and moving and you feel that
Mm-hmm.
there's things you want to leave behind and you're moving into something new. Scary as it is, like you say, it's what we're meant to be doing, isn't it? So thank you so much for repeating that again, because I needed to hear that again, actually. So that was really helpful to me. But also, I think it is the kind of chaos that is around. Um, Again, remembering to step into that, like you say, that Taurus grounding, steady energy. But we forget, don't we, all the time?
We do.
It's so easy to forget. And I know, again, I don't want to put pressure on you, but I know your new project that you're working on is to have a way that we can tap into these little things that we maybe need to do daily to serve ourselves and make ourselves feel grounded and steady and everything. And I think we need that kind of thing. You know, if you're going to do this in a kind of book form, aren't you? You know,
Yeah.
where it would be lovely to have that to sort of dip into and go, oh, I just remember, you know, because I think in the very simplicity of having a routine and daily habits and everything, I think that's what I know I need that. I need a bit of chaos always, always, you know, but I do also need that kind of ritual routine, like say
Yeah.
journaling thing. So a tool like what you're working on, I know will be so, so helpful. But these are for people, you know, while we're waiting for that, and as I said, I don't want to put you under pressure, you know, to remember that we've got those tools anyway. You know, we have the ground, we have nature, we have everything that is there for us. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just said, oh, I'm going to do it all, breath work, journaling, meditation, I'm going to do it all. Maybe, you know, one thing at a time. That's the thing. Sometimes we go, yes, we do know all these things, but maybe we don't need to do them all. One thing will do, you know, and
Yeah.
remembering how wonderful that is. I've got back to swimming lately and it comes with its own set of issues. But the bottom line is that actually when I am at peace in the water, when I get my breathing right and I'm getting everything right, um, the water is holding me. And that is so simple and so beautiful. That in itself is the bit that I want to focus on. You know, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
going on around it. There's a lot of reasons I'm doing it. There's a lot of pressure I'm putting on myself. There's a lot of problems that come with the practicalities. But keeping that focus, and this is what I keep coming back to, it's breath, it's meditating, it's
Mm-hmm.
also movement, which is good, the physical as well. But that wonderful feeling of being held by the water is the beauty that I keep going, this is why I'm doing it. This is what
Yeah.
I'm
I
doing.
love that.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying really with all of the stuff that's going on, trying to keep that simplicity in there and just keeping that one little message to myself. So it is, and that's almost like a way of describing it, probably a long-winded way, but just to keep it simple because
It is.
actually
Yeah.
we do overcomplicate things, don't we?
Yeah. And that is also, I feel like the Taurus energy too, simplicity. Like it doesn't have to be this big thing we make, you know, like, oh, I need to meditate. And so like we kind of give ourselves this big, it's this big grand thing that we have to do, and we talk ourselves out of it half the time because like it's, but it's about like, yeah, the simplicity is what grounds us. Like it, so it doesn't have to be, you know, rocket science to like do these things. It that and coming back to all the little things like that, you know, I think it's needed because like I even need that. Like this week I needed that. Like I got to a place where I was like out of my routine, and you know, I think that we all do that. We're not perfect, you know, beings. We're imperfect, and we get, you know, caught up in things, and you know, I kind of lost track of like the boundaries I set for myself, and
Yeah,
you know, around like getting enough sleep, and you know, and again, that could be because energy's coming in that I, you know, kind of let those slide because, you know, and it's like why do I have to do that? I don't have to do that in order to be in a relationship or just to, you know, go on about my life. Like we, you know, it's coming back to what brings us joy. Like that joy is always internal. It's always, it's not the same as happiness. It's something that's inside of us already that we have to work, not work, to like nurture and to
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
tend to that flame. So whatever it is, you said, you know, for you, it's like right now it's being in the water and,
Mm, mm.
um, you know, but there's all these little things that are going to be a part of this book that we can go to have when we forget, when we kind of lose, when we have
Yeah,
this craziness. Like it's such a contrast of this Taurus energy of the new moon. And then like what I said about the Uranus energy coming up this week, like I think we're preparing for something like big that's going to happen. I don't know, but like it's that expect the unexpected, but like tenfold because it's Uranus is in the center of the sun later this week, and that's like when it just magnifies that energy. And like like we talked about before, we're feeling that whether we believe in it or not. It's like and it's funny because if you don't believe in it, it's like not believing in French or Spanish or like this is just another form of universal communication, if you will. Like
yes, yeah,
it's not a religion or it's not it's it's not even necessarily a belief system, it's a language, it's a way of communicating
Mm,
the energy that we all are and that is around us and that we are a part of, and working with that. And I think that
mm,
that is where we have our, like, take our power back from just being circumstances of our life to saying, okay, I'm going to be intentional around,
mm, mm,
this energy. I know that I'm feeling this way, so what can I do to ground myself, or what can I do, what am I called to do, like, internally, versus
mm.
looking seeking externally for an answer.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
that makes sense, but
Do you know,
it's
really
just,
good, there's lots of good reminders there. And I've just written down what you said because I think it's amazing. Universal communication. It's because I always say, don't I don't understand it, but I feel it. And I love that idea that the universe is communicating with me, and I don't have to. I say it all the time, don't I? I don't have to understand it. I've tried to. But then when we get together and we talk like we do, then it all sorts all go, oh, that makes sense. And it's lovely that yes, the universe is communicating with me. Yes, I don't speak its language, but I feel it. And
yeah,
I
that's
re- and
such a good point.
I really, really love that. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
really try and remember that. And again, I want everyone to go, see it that way. The universe is communicating. We don't have to believe it. We don't have to step into it, but it is there for us if we want to, isn't it? And
Mm-hmm.
why not? And I think again, if we have in a book form or whatever form we have this little go-to, almost a little reminder to keep it simple when our mind is going all over the place and we can't focus and we don't know which way to go, to have something to look at to remind us
Yeah.
is so helpful, isn't it? So all the little things, it's like which little thing today maybe, or that kind of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
just look and maybe pick one, and that kind of thing, because yes, we have a lot of tools, we have so much on offer to us, don't we? But that can be overwhelming, can't it? So it's really nice to be able to just go, right, scale back. What's important, like say, your values, what's important to me,
Mm-hmm.
and just do one thing maybe at a time,
Yeah.
which which is not what most people are doing, is it? Most people are multitasking massively. So yeah,
Yeah.
one thing at a time would be really helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's
Mm.
so important. And yeah, a good reminder, like, and even like I said, I did that on Friday. I did all these things. Like, you don't have to layer them. I was just kind of probably being, a little bit extra, but I was like, I really feel like I need this grounding. I need this kind of reset. And I think that's what this energy is right now, is like this reset. Like you said, we're getting used to this new sense of self, this new, who are we right now? Who are we
Yeah,
now? Like, I
yeah,
feel like I'm such a different person than I was even a year ago. And,
mm,
but then let alone like these last, 8 years, that since I like really was like cracked open on this path of awakening. I started it well before that, seeking something more, seeking it
mm,
like a deeper truth, trying to understand my purpose, like a lot of people do, not alone in that, obviously. But it's like, and once you choose that path, you've chosen it. Like, you can't like unchoose it. And
no,
so that's what makes it so hard sometimes, because like, and then, we know what our toolbox is. We know all the things that bring us back to ourselves.
mm,
But yet sometimes we need that reminder and
we
kind
do,
of like a
yeah,
little shake up. And I feel like this week was the universe saying, Trish, like, what are you doing? Get back to the basics, get back to the
mm,
fundamentals, like go back
mm,
to what makes you feel whole again.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's so important to allow ourselves, especially right now, because it just seems so intense right now. Like, so there's just so much thrown at us that it's almost like we've become numb to it. Or I
mm,
feel like that sometimes. Like,
mm,
there's just so much going on. Like, and I feel like it's intentional because there's so many people that are awake and are awakening, and
yeah,
leaning into that and
mm,
being open to that concept. And
mm,
um it's just a reminder that it's we're on that path for a reason, like.
mm. Yeah, I think that's so true. And like you say, it's almost as if we're preparing for something, some unexpected something to happen, and
Hmm.
and then we really do need to be grounded and tuned in, and
We do,
in
yeah.
that solid, safe space, don't we? So we have that there, and maybe that is why we're being encouraged to get back to that with the Taurus energy, and have been preparing. Like people say when there's a storm and everything, you need your roots grounded in the earth so that you can sway and you can go with it and everything, and you can take it.
Hmm.
So maybe what is coming for us, the communication that I don't necessarily understand, but it could be
Yeah.
that it's something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just see we've got a little message here. I don't know if you can see
Yeah,
it
I
too.
see a couple.
Yeah,
Do you want me to read them or
yeah,
do
it'd
you?
be lovely. Yeah, see,
Well,
yeah,
I
we
see
can.
somebody said, I'm here for a reason to be strong. And I feel like, yeah, like, and it's
Yeah,
whatever we feel like our purposes and strength can be physical strength,
mm,
which it looks like that might be, but also mental, spiritual, like just that's what we're talking about, be
mm,
in our power.
yeah,
And it's a constant choice to do that. So I love
mm,
that concept. And then Rebecca said, it all makes sense and explains the peaks and valleys I'm currently experiencing emotionally. An old wound keeps resurfacing that I thought I was finished with. I can totally relate with it.
totally.
And
So,
I want to bring that. I also wanted to touch on that because that is also another, there's so many astrological aspects going on right now, but Chiron, the wounded healer, which we all have that placement. If you were born between 1968 and 1977, you have Chiron in Aries, and Chiron is just getting ready to leave Aries and go into Taurus. So whether I'm not sure what your placement is, Rebecca, but I have Chiron in Aries. And mine is, and it also depends on what house that's hitting for you, but it's our wounds. And whatever house it's in is where your wounds lie. So for me, it's the house of relationships and partnerships. So my wounds are rooted there, but also the healing is there too. Like that's how you heal. You heal from that same, like, so it's like, it's interesting because relationships can trigger those wounds, but then it's also the point of healing. If you have somebody that you're in relationship that is willing to walk that path with you. And I think that we were just talking earlier, like I'm meeting people that are like not aligned with that. Like I need somebody who's going to meet me halfway or meet me in the middle kind of thing. And I think, I don't know, Rebecca, if like whatever your wound that keeps resurfacing, I know. So if you have Chiron in Aries, a lot of us might be feeling these, I want to say test, but it's not really a test. It's just another, like we haven't learned the lesson yet, or we're finishing the lesson. And so it might resurface for us to be able to do that. And it's not a bad thing. I think we will always, like our wounds are never fully healed. Like we will never fully heal. And Chiron reminds us that because he couldn't heal his wounds, but he helps other people heal, and I think we can do that too. So there's a lesson there, but it's about changing our relationship with that wound, that we're not so easily triggered when it's touched, when somebody pokes at it, and even being triggered is not a negative thing. Like we hear that all the time, like, oh, I was so triggered, or I don't want to be triggered, or that's triggering for me. But it's like that shows us relationships, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a romantic relationship, how we relate to each other is showing us a part of ourselves that we can't see ourselves. And that's why it's important to be with people that resonate. Like you said, you're shedding people, and it's like we want people that are going to reflect to us what we need to know for ourselves and what resonates with us. And also that's a point of healing and growth for us, and we do that for each other. It's not one-sided here. And I think that, like, that's where this, again, coming back to the split, like we're finding our people. We're finding the people that resonate with us on this path, and the ones that don't are the ones that we're shedding. And like, not to be repetitive of what you said, but I think it's such an important point, that in another like perspective of that, if that makes sense.
it totally does to me. And I've just got to say, Trish, this is amazing what you're doing here. You do it with me all the time. I tell you how I feel and what's going on, and then you go, "Oh, that's because of this. That's because of that. That's fancy." And you explain it all. You've just done exactly the same with Rebecca's message there. You have such a talent and such a way of saying things that I can understand. I don't always
Hmm.
understand all of this stuff, but I do, because you make it so personal as well. So I'm so grateful for that, and I'm sure Rebecca is too. But maybe this is something that you could do. Again, I'm putting more ideas out there. Push it away if you want to. But for you to do that, for people to come in with a comment, and for you to actually say what's going on and make
Hmm.
some sense of it, it's such a valuable thing that you do. As I say, you
I
do it for
love
me.
doing that. I
Yeah,
love like
you do it
providing
naturally,
that
don't you?
insight, and
Yeah.
yeah.
You do it naturally. I don't know how you keep it all in your head and your heart. I don't know how you do it, but you do. And as I say, you do it with me all the time. So it could be, I would encourage people while we have these chit chats and everything, or at any point in time, put a question out there because you're going to come up with some wisdom and some wonderful stuff that's really going to help. So looks like we've got another one there as well. Thank
Yeah,
you for
that's
coming
Naomi. Oh, that means a lot. She
in.
said, so beautiful how you express the evolution of the Chiron journey. Thank you, Naomi. Oh,
Oh,
fellow
beautiful.
astrologer. Well, I wouldn't call myself. I just try to, I'm on this journey of learning about astrology,
Yeah,
and that's just a title, but I love the aspect of seeing what the astrological energies are and then applying that to life. It's not a blueprint for life, although our chart can be a blueprint of the potential that we have on this trip on Earth. But I feel like it makes life make sense. And like
yes,
that's the simple part or simple
yeah,
way to say it. It makes life make sense.
yeah. And
And
that's
it
what you
makes our
do.
path make sense.
Yes. Oh,
Fellow
brilliant. Yes.
astrology expert.
Yes, lovely, lovely. I love that.
Oh,
But I think, that is something, maybe we could put out there to the universe or whatever, as I say, you do this naturally.
let's put it
It's
out
what,
there.
yeah, it's what you want to do. You help me all the time and
I love
everything.
it.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it is a natural thing that you do. And I don't think people necessarily realise that we have these chit chats so regularly. And if you look back at them all, you're always doing it, which is wonderful. But yeah, so yes, again, no pressure on you. You help people personally. People can look at your website and find out how to work with you, can't they? So what's
Yeah.
the best place to look for you? Obviously on Instagram, you're here.
Yeah, this
Where
is
can
Trish
people
Campbell
find
on
you?
Instagram. This is trishcampbell.com. It's my website. And yeah, that like if you want to know more about like what we talked about today, like where Chiron, like that's like big interest for me. It's obviously been a big point of the past 8 years of my life, like healing that wound. And it will probably always, like I said, we're never done with that, but yeah, and you have been a part of that process for me too, like I said earlier, and helping me with your gentle questioning, your calmer self method, which is so beautiful and such a gift for people who want to like dive into healing and just understanding themselves on a deeper level and just coming to a place of calm. So where can people find you and all your lovely work?
Thank you so much. My YouTube channel, Calm Myself, all of these chit chats going on there. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
more as well. So I encourage people to look at that. But you just mentioned my Calm Myself method, and that is on my website. Again, that is Calm Myself. And if you click on the bit that says the Calm Myself method, people can see it. And like you say,
Yeah.
gentle questioning. There is, meditation, how to sit with difficult emotions, that kind of thing. They're all valuable and they're all part in how we can learn more about ourselves and move forward. So
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage people to look at those areas and
Yeah.
and decide
And
what works for them, what they can resonate with.
yeah, and I just want to encourage people in general to explore that for themselves. Like I think a lot of people want to grow and to like heal and not like um, talking about triggers again. It's not about the trigger. The trigger isn't the issue. It's how we
Mm.
react to the
Yeah,
trigger.
yeah,
And so how we can change that is doing the work. And it
yeah.
is work. It's not, but you can't skip the steps. You can't push
No.
the easy button. That's another conversation.
We
Um,
had that. We
but
we got that one,
which
haven't
we've
we?
had before, so there's
We talked
probably a
about
chit
that.
chat at
Yeah,
one or
maybe
two, maybe
there
more.
is. I can point that out when I
Yeah.
put this on YouTube. I can point at that one,
But
but that might be a topic for an revisit that area again because it's come up, hasn't it? So
yeah, and
that
it's
could
like
be good.
it's why we have these conversations because like we're not keeping this to ourselves and being the gatekeepers of healing. It's there
Mm,
for everybody
mm,
if you want it. And that's again why we're here. That's how if you don't know what your purpose is, if you're on that quest to find out what your purpose is, this is the path. Like healing is the way because we all have something, even if we convince ourselves we don't. So
You're right. You're
I
right.
think
You're
we'll leave or end it on that note if you're good
perfect.
with
Perfect
that.
note.
But
Yeah, that's a perfect
yeah,
note to end it on. Thank you so
yeah,
much. This has been
yeah. Thank
another
you.
wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, lovely as always. Thanks everyone who joined us live as well, and we'll see you next time.